Hey, world, what up? NBA seasons now has been starting for the 2024-2025 NBA season. The off seasons head off to a wrap, and typically during the NBA season, there's going to be scuffles. There's going to be trade rumors. There's going to be a lot of drama that picks up pace. And usually we see this every year at the beginning of the season, targeting one, two, maybe even that third player of, is this the season to where they reach success, to where all the trade rumors about them can go away? Or if there's a shorting in the NBA playoffs to where this player is pretty much going to get booted, leave the team, request a trade, leave in free agency, so on and so forth. And as we're looking into today's topic, yes, I'm talking about Mr. Giannis Antetokounmpo. Now, this was a topic of conversation back in around 2020 when Giannis Antetokounmpo had won a couple MVPs, but he wasn't able to win an NBA championship. And there was questions that the Milwaukee Bucks were a winning franchise for him. And there was topic of conversation back then of him potentially joining the Golden State Warriors after a year or two after Kevin Durant departed, going to the Toronto Raptors, and so on and so forth. But in 2021, Giannis Antetokounmpo did prove to win his first NBA championship, and that pretty much left those trade rumors out the window as people were expecting him to pretty much stay with the franchise for the full 15, 20 years if he's in the NBA for that long of a tenure. They did represent him like a Kareem Abdul-Jabbar type player, to where he won one championship and he's good. Now, fast forwarding around 4 or 5 seasons later, the Milwaukee Bucks within that time period have pretty much lost 3 years in a row to the first round of the NBA playoffs. And that's left pretty much an abundant amount of questions and pressure on Giannis, his teammates, and the organization. Now, as there's trade rumors for Giannis Antetokounmpo now entering the NBA season, Giannis did have a press conference basically interviewing and say basically he doesn't blame the franchise if he gets traded, if they get bounced early, something along those matters, if they don't win a championship. Giannis is putting it out there in the NBA world and landscape that pretty much you can tell that he's very open to leaving. He doesn't see this as a championship contending team. And being at 29, about to be 30 years of age, he's open to leaving Milwaukee. And I don't blame him. But let's jump into today's segment here and let's basically get a little more depth.
John,
I'm going to go somewhere. I don't want to hate, but I think what's going on in Milwaukee right now with the Bucks, let's talk about their future. You think about Giannis Antetokounmpo, we know he's committed right now. He's locked in. Dame Lillard is locked in on a long-term contract. But
and real quickly, Giannis does have 4 years left of his contract, around $220 million or so. If you're looking at the Milwaukee Bucks against the landscape of the Eastern Conference, I do have the Milwaukee Bucks projected at around pretty much a 6th seed or so. And you're looking at the NBA Conference, right? There's good tiers and hierarchies. The number one is going to be, of course, the Boston Celtics, falling along with the New York Knicks in that range. I do have, besides below them, the Philadelphia 76ers, barring any further injury, even though there is injuries of Joel Embiid and Paul George. But I expect the Philadelphia 76ers to pretty much be at 80% full strength to finish around a 3rd seed or so. So kind of going down a little more. At number 4, kind of expect the Orlando Magic in that range and the Indiana Pacers to battle it off. And then I see kind of the Milwaukee Bucks in that range at the 6th seed. But I didn't even mention a couple teams. You still have the Cleveland Cavaliers. You still have the Miami Heat who are going to be battling within. So I do have question marks about the Atlanta Hawks. I expect them to be a playing team. But everyone else in the Eastern Conference is basically going to be on the bottom of the totem pole. So if we're looking into the tiers, I'm looking at Milwaukee at around a 3rd tier in the Eastern Conference. Not a lot of teams have much respect. Now, they have respect towards Giannis and Damian Lillard. And actually, I'll even throw in Brook Lopez as well. Chris Middleton has been kind of on and off. But besides that, the head coaching staff with Doc Rivers and bringing in even David Fizdale again, that's not a strong staff when it comes to this team with quote-unquote championship aspirations.
his future and their future, and they still want to compete for a championship, obviously. And if they're not, as a franchise, going to win and going to win at a high level, if they're not going to show as an organization that they're committed to winning, Giannis Antetokounmpo, it's nothing that I think I'm sharing it. He has said it publicly time and time again that if they're not committed to win, if they're not winning at a high level, he's going to have to look at another option. I think there are multiple teams around the league, specifically teams that feel like if that got to that threshold, they would look at a guy like Giannis.
All right, who, Chomps?
They are very closely monitoring.
Listen, the Milwaukee Bucks are not front heavy. If you're looking at this team, right, it's a bunch of older players way past their prime. Now, actually, let me backtrack. Not way past their prime, but at the tail end of their prime, right? So Damian Lillard at 33 years of age is going to be 34. Chris Middleton at 32 at his age right now. And right now he's out for 1 to 2 weeks with a sore right ankle. Who's going to miss the opener? Giannis is 29, about to be 30. He's still in his prime. He's fine. Bobby Portis is around 29 years of age, so he's kind of in that prime area. Brook Lopez at 36 years of age at the tail end, the back end. I think Brook Lopez probably has another year or two left in the NBA before he retires within so. But if I'm looking at the bench and the quote-unquote depth of the Milwaukee Bucks, it's non-existent. You have a bunch of players with one-year contracts in their books. So what does that mean? These guys who are their veterans with one-year contracts, if they lose in the first or second round, expect this team to quote-unquote blow it up. I'm looking at the bench, DeLon Wright with a 1 year. Pat Connaughton, 1 year at $9 million. Who else? Taurean Prince, another veteran, 30 years, 1 year, around $2 million. And I don't even think they have a true backup big as well. There's a lot of question marks. There's a lot of holes within this team, questions on the coaching staff. I know this team has an urgency to quote-unquote go all in and win a championship, but they don't have the pieces. They don't have the right puzzle pieces here within that. If I'm looking at teams moderate Giannis Antetokounmpo within this season, it's a push for him to make a trade, yada, yada. Number one, I'm signaling if I'm the Golden State Warriors. You do have Steph Curry, who's around 35 years of age, who has a couple years left in the NBA, and Klay Thompson departed. There's question marks if Draymond Green will be there for another year or two, as Draymond has 2 years left of his contract. Steph Curry has 3 years left, around $100 million or so. And the Golden State Warriors could use a franchise cornerstone. Other teams out there, I'll give my take here in a second.
Very closely monitoring how this season goes in Milwaukee, how he looks, how he plays. And you think about the pieces around him. Are they building the right way? We know Dame Lillard. We know what he's going to bring on a nightly basis. I reported yesterday, Chris Middleton is out for the season opener tomorrow night. He's out. We see what's going on with Kawhi Leonard, an indefinite period of time. Chris Middleton is essentially out an indefinite period of time. He's not going to just miss the opening night game. He's not going to be ready for their season opener against Chicago at home. So we'll see when he's going to be back. They need him to be healthy. They need him to be in the lineup.
These are the conversations that Shams and I have. When we talk to people in the league, so Shannon is all excited about tonight. And tonight is going to be amazing. I really do think for a lot of different reasons. Yes. And we should celebrate tonight. I absolutely agree.
I hope your flight gets delayed, but go ahead.
But when Shams and I are talking to people in the league, this is what they're talking about. They're talking about what's going to happen with Giannis, what's going to happen with the Bucks. How are the Bucks going to be this year? Are they going to be good enough where Giannis is going to stay committed? That's the underlying. At the surface is Bron and Bronny tonight, and I think it's going to happen tonight. You know, Junior and Senior Griffey are coming. Watch the start of the second quarter.
It better happen tonight.
Okay.
Watch the start of the second quarter. Second quarter is when people go to the bathroom.
Yes.
If you're at Crypto.com tonight, don't go to the bathroom at the end of the first quarter. Stay in your seat.
Well,
but underlying what Shams just said.
It's a couple of things. Number one, we're going to help out Shams because, number one, I'm going to forgive y'all with no tie because y'all didn't know. So it's all right. I'm going to let that go. I'm let you get the memo. You got the memo now. You got the memo now.
And real quickly with Giannis, there's pretty much only two teams I see that make somewhat sense is the Golden State Warriors. Second, I'm going to throw in the Miami Heat. Jimmy Butler's at 1 year left of his contract here. They're going to see how the Miami Heat finishes in the NBA landscape. And it's going to be a decision between Pat Riley to pretty much retain Jimmy Butler or quote-unquote let him go. They're going to make especially a push for Giannis Antetokounmpo, especially if there's a potential sign-and trade, and to pair Giannis with Bam Adebayo and Tyler Herro and the young cats out there. But if you're making that trade, a potential sign-and trade, you're going to have to include probably Jamie Jazzquez, Nikola Jovic, some draft picks, and kind of going a little more further within there. But those are only two teams I see as of right now that make a lean headway for Giannis Antetokounmpo. Now, an X-Factor team who has the draft assets and young cats that actually could make that potentially happen also is the Oklahoma City Thunder, especially if they can't get past the conference finals or the NBA finals of this season. If they really want to push for it, I'm not saying it would be the best fit or if it would make ideally sense. I could see both pros and cons within there. But that could be, watch out for that.
I'm going to hold him accountable. That's number
Thank you,
one.
Molly. Thank you, Molly.
Number
Yeah.
one.
Appreciate it,
Number
I respect
one.
a good barber.
Number two. This is first take, baby. Now, I asked that man a direct question. You heard that question. You give me all of that nuggets about Milwaukee, and there's several teams looking. Who are the teams?
There are several
who are the teams that's looking at Giannis, that's praying that brother becomes available? Who
29
are they,
other
Shams?
Unnamed sources.
Okay. I just wanted to hear my next
When we can talk about it, we're going to talk about it. But listen, right now, we know what Giannis is all about. He's about winning a championship. He's made all the money. He's signed multiple $100-200 million extensions. He's got a big Nike deal. He's got a bunch of stuff going on off the court. For him, it's about winning and winning a championship again. He wants to do it again. He thought that's what the trajectory of this team was. But we've seen the last year, they have not gone far as he's wanted in the playoffs. And this year, I'm telling you, no one in Milwaukee is going to be happy or withstand a first-round exit, or potentially even a second-round exit. There's a lot of pressure in Milwaukee.
Yeah.
Yeah, the expectations for the Bucks, they needed to get to a conference finals at least. And I'm talking about being pretty much in the Game 7 as well as getting to an NBA Finals. That's the bottom of the release. Now, the expectation is to win an NBA championship, as well as you have Damian Lillard and Giannis Antetokounmpo within their second season. Remember, last season they finished as a third seed at a 49-33 record. They were bounced in the first round against Indiana due to Giannis being hurt and not being able to play that series. And they lost, I believe, in 6 games or so to the Indiana Pacers. And if they were able to beat the Indiana Pacers, if they were fully healthy, they would have played against the New York Knicks within that second round series. And that could have been pretty interesting going that way. But overall, Giannis Antetokounmpo and the Milwaukee Bucks, I still expect them to be somewhere around tier 3 and a 6 seed as of right now. Let's see what happens within their team. If they're able to fill out that bench, make a couple more moves, but we'll figure it out. And what teams are going to be eyeing Giannis Antetokounmpo. But NBA season starting, we'll see a little more